Lesson 11, School and Studying. Let's begin with an overview of the school system in the U.S. There are 12 years of basic schooling. Each year is called a grade: first grade, second grade, third grade, etc. Elementary school is first grade to fifth grade. Middle school is sixth grade to eighth grade. And high school is ninth grade to 12th grade. When you successfully finish a level of school, you graduate. What year did you graduate from high school? Answer the question now. After high school, you can go to college or university for 4 years. When you graduate from a 4-year college, you get a bachelor's degree. The document that shows evidence of your degree is called a diploma. There are more advanced studies after that. A master's degree usually takes an extra 2 to 3 years, and a doctorate, or PhD, can take another 4 to 6 years. School subjects. The different areas of study, like science, math, and art, are called subjects. Here are a few of the most common subjects. Science, like chemistry, physics, and biology. History, geography, economics, social studies. Mathematics, more commonly called math, like algebra, geometry, and calculus. Gym class, or PE, short for physical education. Art, music, literature, and languages. What were your favorite and least favorite subjects in school? Answer the question now. In college, you choose an area to focus your studies. This is called your concentration, or major. If you went to college, what was your major? Answer the question now. People in school. In elementary, middle, and high school, the main educator in the classroom is called a teacher. In college, this person is called a professor. Someone who gives private lessons or extra help is called a tutor. In elementary, middle, and high school, the leader or director of the school is called the principal. Another possible word for this person is headmaster for a man, or headmistress for a woman. The leader of a university is called the president. Finally, the other students in your class are not your colleagues. This word is only used for other people at work. Instead, they are your classmates. Study habits. In the U.S., the school year is divided into 2 main semesters, or terms, September to December and January to June. The free time between semesters is called a break, or vacation. We usually say break if it is a shorter period, and vacation if it is a longer period. The number or letter showing how well you did on your schoolwork is called a grade. Some systems use letters, A, B+, C-, etc., and others use numbers, 95%, 88%, 72%, etc. The students' progress in their courses can be evaluated through homework, school tasks that you do at home, quizzes, short tests. If the teacher gives you a surprise quiz in class without telling you about it earlier, it's called a pop quiz. Papers. Written assignments for which you must do research, collect information from various sources, and write about a topic. Tests or exams. You can pass a test, get a grade above the minimum required, or fail a test, get a bad grade below the minimum required. Midterms. A midterm is a big test in the middle of the semester, and finals or final exams are big tests at the end of the semester. A thesis or dissertation is a large and long academic project done as part of an advanced university degree. A good and dedicated student can be described as studious. A studious person always does their homework and always reviews, studies the information they previously learned before a test. The opposite of a studious person is a slacker. This is a lazy student who doesn't give much effort to their studies. A slacker might cut class, not go to class, or procrastinate on assignments, wait until the very last minute. If you wait until the last minute and then try to study a lot immediately before a test, this is called cramming. Check the link in the lesson text for some slang words about school and studying. You've finished Lesson 11. Now continue to the exercises to practice the vocabulary you've learned. Lesson 12. Phones and computers. Basic phone vocabulary. There are different types of phones: cell phones or mobile phones. A cell phone with more advanced capabilities is called a smartphone. Pay phones or public phones. The regular telephone you have in your house is called a landline, to differentiate it from a cell phone. This type of phone is called a cordless phone because it is not connected by a cord. When someone calls you, the phone makes a sound. We say the phone is ringing. If you're available, you pick up the telephone or answer the telephone in order to talk to the person. If there's nobody to answer the phone, then the caller will have to leave a message on an answering machine or voicemail. Later, you can call back or return the call. When you want to make a phone call, you start by dialing the number. Let's imagine that you call your friend, but she's already on the phone with someone else. You'll hear a busy signal, a beeping sound that tells you the other person is currently using the phone. Sometimes when you call a company, they put you on hold. This is when you wait for your call to be answered, usually while listening to music. Finally, when you're finished with the conversation, you hang up. Let's learn some vocabulary specifically for cell phones. Inside a cell phone is a SIM card. This is what helps you connect. To use a cell phone, you'll need to have an agreement with a service provider, a company that you pay for cell phone service. Most service providers offer monthly contracts or prepaid service, where you buy credit and then use it to talk for a specific number of minutes. You can only use your cell phone in areas where there's a signal or reception. And don't forget your charger to give your phone power. If your phone runs out of power, we say the battery's dead and you need to recharge it. Computer vocabulary. The three basic types of computers are a desktop, a laptop or notebook, and a tablet. A desktop computer has a monitor with a screen. Writing on a computer is called typing. You type on a keyboard. The individual buttons are called keys. Using the mouse, you can move the pointer on the screen. You can listen to music through the speakers and have video conferences with the webcam. And the cords or cables are what link all the parts together. The physical parts of the computer are called hardware, and computer programs are called software. When you install software, it means you put it on your computer. The opposite, removing it from your computer, is to uninstall. The information on a computer can be called data. It's very important to make a backup, an extra electronic copy of your data, just in case your computer gets infected with a virus, a bad program that causes damage, or a hacker, a person who enters other people's computer systems illegally, gets access to your computer. Let's open a window on the computer. These individual pieces of information are called files, and you can put multiple files into a folder to organize them. Each file, folder, and program is represented by a small picture called an icon. To surf the net, use the internet, we use a program called a browser. If there's a website you really like and you want to come back to it, you can bookmark it. Save the address for the future. Computer and phone professions. One profession that uses the phone a lot is telemarketing. The person who does it is called a telemarketer, someone who calls many different people trying to sell them something. A customer service representative is someone who helps customers of a company by phone, and sometimes email as well. There are many computer-related professions. A person who creates computer programs is called a programmer or a software developer. A person who creates websites is a web designer. And a person who creates and modifies images and visual elements is a graphic designer. Finally, if you have a problem with your computer or network, you can call a tech support specialist. That's a person who helps solve technical problems. You've finished Lesson 12. Now continue to the exercises to practice the vocabulary you've learned. Lesson 13. Sports and Hobbies. Let's begin with the different places sports are played. A field is a big open space with grass. Soccer, baseball, and American football are played on a field. A court is a smaller space with a hard surface. Tennis, volleyball, and basketball are played on a court. We also have boxing and wrestling, which are done in a ring, and ice hockey and figure skating, which are done on an ice rink. Professional sports are played in a stadium or arena. The spectators, people watching the game, can sit in seats or on long benches called bleachers. Another word for the people watching the game is fans. The fans cheer for their favorite team to win, and they boo if the team makes a mistake. People in sports. The general word for someone who does sports is an athlete, but you can also include the name of the specific sport. For team sports that use the word play, we can call the athletes players: soccer player, tennis player, hockey player, volleyball player, and so on. For individual sports, the name of the person is formed by adding ER to the name of the sport: runner, boxer, skier, and swimmer. The two exceptions are a cyclist, someone who rides bicycles, and a gymnast, someone who does gymnastics. The person who teaches the players and organizes the team strategy is called the coach. During games, there is an official person who makes sure everyone is following the rules. This person is called a referee, and he or she can use a whistle to start and stop the game. In sports like gymnastics and figure skating, where each athlete is evaluated and given points based on how well they performed, the people who evaluate and award points are called the judges. Sports events. When two teams play against each other, this is called a game or match. The number of points each team has is called the score, and it is displayed on a piece of equipment called a scoreboard. The three possible outcomes of a game are for a team to win, lose, and for both teams to tie. That means an equal score, like 3-3, for example. We often say the winning team beat the losing team. A team or player that has not lost a match is described as undefeated. An event with many different individuals trying to win can be called a competition, like a figure skating competition. When many people or teams compete directly and the losers are eliminated until there is a final winner, this is called a tournament. The winner of a competition or tournament is called the champion, and they often receive a trophy or a medal. Finally, an event in which the fastest person wins is called a race. Hobbies. If you're not very athletic, maybe you have a hobby, an activity you do for fun in your free time. You can play cards, play chess, or play checkers. In general, games like chess and checkers are called board games. Some people collect stamps or collect coins from different countries. And others have creative hobbies like knitting or making crafts. Crafts are artistic or decorative things you make with your hands. Making things with wood is called woodworking. Hobbies done outside include gardening, growing plants, food, and flowers, camping, staying in the middle of nature in tents, hiking, walking through nature, and fishing, trying to catch fish. To describe how involved you are in your hobby, you can use one of these phrases. I dabble in photography. I dabble in means you do it casually, not very intensely or seriously. I'm hooked on yoga. Hooked on means you're addicted to it, you really like it, and you do it frequently. I just got into juggling. This means you recently started to do this hobby. I'd like to take up rock climbing. This means you haven't started yet, but you're interested in beginning this hobby. Check the links in the text lesson for more sports vocabulary. You've finished Lesson 13. Now continue to the exercises to practice the vocabulary you've learned. Lesson 14. TV and movies. Television. To turn on the TV, you can press a button on the remote control. A few other things you can do with the remote control are turn the volume up and down and change the channel. When somebody changes channels very fast without stopping to watch, this is called channel surfing. Another word for a TV program is a show. There are different types of TV shows. The news is information about current events in the world. A talk show is comments and discussion about current events or topics in society and life. A documentary is an educational show that is full of facts. A soap opera is a show that tells a story about the characters' lives, with lots of emotion and drama, and often a romantic element. Sitcom is short for situation comedy, a funny show about the everyday lives of the characters. A cartoon is an animated show for children. In a game show, people compete to win money or prizes. And a reality show films regular people in real situations. What kinds of TV shows do you like? What kinds of TV shows don't you like? Answer the question now. Each instance of a TV show is called an episode. Episodes are usually 30 to 60 minutes long. When there's an old episode that you've already seen because it has appeared on TV before, that's called a rerun. The episodes of a TV show are often organized into sets called seasons. After the end of a season, there is a break, a short period of time before the next season begins with new episodes. The last episode of a season is usually very exciting and is called the season finale. Often, the season finale ends with a cliffhanger. That means a situation that is full of suspense, so that the viewers are very curious to see what will happen next in the first episode of the next season. There's a specific name for the advertisements that appear on TV. These are commercials. And here's a slang expression for a lazy person who watches a lot of TV. They are called a couch potato. TV and movie professions. A person who plays a fictional character on TV is called an actor for a man or actress for a woman. Brad Pitt is an actor, and Angelina Jolie is an actress. The whole group of actors and actresses in a show or movie, all together, is called the cast. The person who supervises the filming of a TV show or movie is the director. There are various names for the person who presents the news, including newscaster, news anchor, anchorman, and anchorwoman. The news anchor sits in the studio, and the reporter presents news from the place where an event is happening. The person who is the leader of a game show, talk show, or cooking show is called the host. Movies. Let's learn some of the different types of movies. Action and adventure movies have exciting stories. James Bond and Indiana Jones movies, for example. Sci-fi is short for science fiction. These are movies about outer space, aliens, life in the future, etc. For example, Star Wars and Star Trek. Fantasy movies are about imaginary worlds and creatures. For example, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. A comedy is a funny movie. There are also romantic comedies, funny movies about romance. A horror movie is one that scares or frightens you. Similar to that is a thriller, a movie with a lot of suspense. Drama deals with people's lives and relationships. In addition to these basic categories, here are a few more words used to describe movies. An indie movie is an independent film produced by a small group and not by a big Hollywood company. A chick flick is a type of movie that women usually enjoy. A tearjerker is a movie that is very sad and can make you cry. A feel-good movie is one that makes you feel happy and positive. A family-friendly film is one that's okay for kids to see because there's no violence, sex, or bad language. If you say that a movie has a lot of blood and gore, it means there's lots of clearly visible violence, blood, people dying, etc. What's your favorite type of movie? Answer the question now. The place where you see a movie is called the movie theater. But before a movie comes out in theaters, there's the trailer, a short 3 to 4 minute video showing some of the interesting scenes from the movie, designed to make you want to see it. If a movie continues the story from a previous movie, this second movie is called the sequel, like American Pie and American Pie 2. Another type of movie is a remake. That's when the directors take an old story and film a completely new version of it. Finally, if the dialogue in the movie is in a different language, there can be subtitles, the text on the bottom of the screen, so you can read the translation. Or the movie can be dubbed. That's when they use a different audio track with people speaking the other language. You've finished Lesson 14. Now continue to the exercises to practice the vocabulary you've learned. Lesson 15. Books, Music, and Art. Are you a bookworm? A bookworm is someone who loves reading and reads a lot of books. You can buy books from a bookstore or borrow books from the library. When you borrow or check out a book from the library, you need to return it before a certain date, called the due date. If you don't, the books will be overdue and you'll have to pay a fine, money paid as a penalty. The two main categories of books are fiction, imagined stories, stories that are not true or real, and nonfiction, books that are true or present real facts and opinions. The person who wrote the book is called the author, and the company that produced and published the book is the publisher. Each book has a cover, which can be hard, a hardcover book, or soft, a paperback book. We have a saying in English, "Don't judge a book by its cover," meaning don't form an opinion based only on the outer appearance, as what's inside may be different and surprising. A long fiction book is called a novel, and a shorter fiction text is called a short story. Novels and short stories have a plot. That's the sequence of events in the story. And the imaginary people in the book are called characters. The location and time period where the story happens is called the setting. You can also talk about the themes of the book, the central ideas. A good book that has been famous for many years is called a classic. Art. Maybe you're a more visual person and you prefer art. You can see art at a museum or art gallery, which have exhibits, public displays, of works of art. An individual piece of art can be called a work, and a group of works of art can be called a collection. A few of the main types of art are drawing, which is done with pencils, painting, done with a paintbrush on a canvas, sculpture, a three-dimensional work of art which can be made of stone, metal, glass, wood, or clay. If a drawing or painting is of a person, it is called a portrait. A drawing or painting of nature is called a landscape. And a drawing or painting of objects is called a still life. There are many different artistic styles. If the artwork looks very realistic, like a photograph, you can say it is lifelike. Art with a little bit of difference from reality is impressionistic. And there's some art that's very abstract, very far from reality. The best works of art are called masterpieces, and they are priceless, so valuable that it's impossible to define a price for them. Music. Let's clarify a common error with the words music and song. Music refers to the category in general, and a song is a specific piece of music. You can say, I like the Beatles' music, or I like the songs Let It Be and In My Life. The word music is never plural. Music that is played by an orchestra with no singing is called instrumental music. The leader of the group who controls the music is the conductor, and the people playing the instruments are musicians. When an orchestra plays music in public, this event is called a concert. Concerts can also be given by a choir, a group of singers singing classical or church music. A group of more modern instruments is called a band, and a public performance by a band can be called either a concert or a show. Bands also record albums, CDs. Each song on an album is called a track. When you buy a CD, you also get a little booklet with the lyrics, the words to the songs. Other parts of a song include the melody, the main sound of the music, the harmony, the notes that complement the melody, and the rhythm or beat, the consistent timing of the music. Finally, if a song becomes very popular and famous, it is called a hit. You've finished Lesson 15. Now continue to the exercises to practice the vocabulary you've learned.